Hey guys, before I start this video, I do want to tell you guys one thing. I kind of goofed up when it came to the accounting because when I was on a website, they didn't show the Grim Reader card on there, so I assumed there was 51 spells. However, I forgot to add Lord Knight all the way up till number 17, so do forgive me until that time. Thank you, bye.
3, 2, 1.
Last year, I did a video on ranking all the storm spells, excluding all the new ones that came out, and all the updates that occurred. This year, I'm going to take a more advanced study and look at the spooky death schools and rank all the death spells. Here are the rules. Obviously, no jewels or other spells outside of the permanent spells are allowed, so examples of Solomon Crane, DeathBlade, Ominous Scarecrow cannot be allowed. While other spells that are in the treasure card aisle cannot be allowed either, so no treasure cards for that either, whether it's different. Therefore, we're going to judge only permanent spells. Number 2, any spells that cannot attack, I'm allowed to use 0 pips for. And number 3, each time, each character, or each enemy we fight, based on the weakest to strongest, that's based on how well they are, in my opinion. With that, let's begin. 51, Pacify. Now, I don't know why someone needs this spell as a death character. Deaths are made to steal health, not to be, expelled from not being hit at all. It doesn't make sense to me. It feels like it's a dumb spell. Therefore, it shouldn't exist on a death. Whether it should be existing on a storm, maybe. However, this is what we get. Number 50, Mega Pacify. This spell is a little bit weird because you're not allowed to do it yourself. You can protect another friend, which I don't have any other friends for it to show it, but same thing as Pacify. It's the only difference is that you're not allowed to do it yourself. You can do it on another friend. I think that's a little bit more useful since you can protect a weaker friend in the end. That's a better spell in my opinion. However, you're a death character, just kill. 49, Infection. This is one of the better spells for a death character, preventing the user to heal themselves in battle. Pretty much set. You don't allow them to heal for the next healing spell. Takes half of it. This is the best way to go with it. I like it. However, since it's also a free spell, it's just another weakness. In my opinion, it's meh. 48, Mass Infection. Yes, this is a little bit different, only because now you can add it to everyone in the enemy field. However, they minus 5 for some reason, which doesn't really make sense to me. Why would you minus 5 from the original? Really doesn't matter though. You're allowed to add it on, and it counts. Actually, it counts as a different spell. So now you actually technically can make a minus 95 when it comes to healing. That's actually kind of cool. Number 47, Crimson Phantom. What the hell were they thinking when making this spell? I know, first attack, right? That's so low. Here's the thing: 140 damage for a 4-pip spell. Yikes, dude. Seriously. I do more damage as a level 150, but even still, I don't even make it 1,000 mark. Oh yes, you can put up the field, cool. At the same time, you would have made it like a 3-pip spell or just add more damage onto it. Like, why would I need? I'm gonna show you this. Why would I need to go into spell rights only to get up to 170 damage? Who would use this spell? Number 46, Steel Health. I can understand why they added this as a spell. However, if your minion is close to death, yeah, you can just steal their health and just get your health back from it. Just like how I just got 1,700 from that. But what was the point of wasting all your pips just to kill your minion in the end? Yeah, you can get health back, but at the same time, it's kind of pointless if you ask me. But opinions are assured. Number 45, Strangle. Dispels the next death spell. By all means, one of the greatest spells that was ever made for a death, since there's like a bunch of death bosses. However, it's 2 pips just to dispel the next death spell, and you don't even know if they'll use it or not. Who knows? They could use it for a DeathBlade or a huge spell. It's like a flip of a coin. I say it's lower. It's in a lower case only because that happens to me a lot. And believe me, you need like double Strangle, and that's technically not going to count because treasure cards. Number 44, Beguile. I wish I could give this spell more credit than it is, but unfortunately, this only hypnotizes most enemies that are outside and none of the bosses. There's very few bosses who are allowed to control for a round, and they will help you for a round as well. Whether it's to support you with a blade, or attack their own allies. It's an interesting spell, but at the same time, it only works on themselves, and you can't even hit them, which makes it pointless to even fight them, even if you're alone. So therefore, waste of time. Number 43, Animate. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I can understand why it goes up to 5, but why not 7? It's clear that power pips are not a thing. You go up to 14. I can understand that. Why not 7 though? Where you could use a Dragonspire 7-pip minion and not rely on someone who's that weak. I'm telling you. And in the end, it's using a pointless spell. I don't know. Should have been 7 pips, my opinion. But you know what? I guess that's fair enough. Number 42, Death Prism. By God, the OG spell that we all needed for a death minion that we had to face. Back when it first came out, it's still a useful spell. It's only low because nowadays you don't really deal with a lot of death minions. And please do ignore this. I'm sorry that the animation's causing this to happen. But Death Prisms are very much still useful in most battles, and I still think they're one of the best. Just however though, they're only useful in like one school, and that's literally it. Whereas you could use it against a storm boss if you really wanted to, and they're weak to life. I personally think that's a waste of time. You might as well just go with your full-on death and just kill them from there. I mean, if you want to go for the boost, have at it, I guess. 41, Mass Death Prism. Same thing as before. You just put it on all enemies. Another OG spell that was necessary, since you didn't have to waste so much time. And honestly, I'm glad that they went down. Down with the spell. Instead of 2 pips, it's now considered 1 pip, which should have been in the first place. Since you just literally put it on all enemies. You do the same thing with other spells that are multi. Why not this one? You know what I'm saying? 40, Death Shield. You can tell by now, I'm having a hard time choosing which spells are the worst considerably. I don't think this one's the worst, as it helps you protect against other death spells that are either powerful or just pathetic. In all honesty, it's just to the point where all spells at this point are so good, they have to be ranked based on their accuracy. Like that, for example, the shield was pointless. Therefore, I put the shield at that rank because it wasn't even useful against a death minion itself. 39, Death Trap. Just boost up your death power moves or stealing health. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's great to have that extra damage, but at the same time, most PvP players nowadays don't even use Death Trap. In fact, they really don't use any other traps other than Feint, so yeah, congrats for early players who use this trap still. I support you for it. 38, Curse. And like the Death Trap, this one's more of a universal trap, which is, I think, cool to have for a death character. In fact, it would help to play as a support in case you have a powerhouse storm or fire or literally anything else that's going to kill with a huge hit. That's one of your best traps to have, and I think it's great to have. Though the only problem is if someone decides to mess up and hits by accident and they hit your trap, yeah, game over for that. 37, DeathSpear. Last year I gave so much crap about it because it was so low of a count for piercing, but they buffed it up to 20%, so it's great. However, just because it's piercing, most minions have high piercing nowadays. And yes, while you are required to have it for one specific boss, who I won't mention on stream, where I just found out about it, DeathSpear is a decent setup if you're having a hard time with a boss, and they're deciding to pierce you, and they decided to have a high resistance against you. So yeah, there you go. 36, Doom and Gloom. Now, admittedly, one of the best spells. Uses against the final boss in Castle Darkmoor? Of course, especially when it's treasure card. However, if you're with a team, this is a death wish. Again, please ignore this. I apologize for the animation, but let me explain Doom and Gloom while we're at it. Doom and Gloom basically halves all the healings that occurs. Besides stealing health, it won't count that. However, when you're fighting against the people that do have health on their team, you just screwed them over because now they don't heal a lot. Just like me, for example. Actually, this is a perfect example. Because now, if you just look between the health I just got from last round, look at how much health I get now. I don't get as much as I did last round. Point proven. This is what happens when you get doom and gloomed. 35, Plague. Plague is one of the best spells to this day for anyone that's using setup. Minus 20 in the beginning games was always a great way to screw your enemies over. Make sure they do less damage than they normally would, while you barely have any clothing for resistance, which it felt great at the time. However, one pip, as an example, you just saw me lose my power pip. Was it really worth it when I could have just one hit with this? No, I definitely don't think so. 34, Virulent Plague. This is the better version, where I think this was well deserved in a deck. This goes from minus 20 to all enemies to minus 40 to all enemies. Still, you can use minus 20 to add on the minus bonus to make it overall minus 60. However, when you have something that's more powerful and it decreases more, I take this road because it just doubles everything and makes everything more fun for you, because that way you won't die quickly. 33, Deadzone. Unlike every other school except for Death and Life, they didn't have a plus 25 for their field. But now, since the recent update, they actually added it finally, making it possible to do extra damage with the field, which I think that's cool. However, a little late on that. Plus, who's going to use it at level 33, in all honesty? I feel like at that point, you should have strong enough gear. I mean, hey, if you want to waste 2 pips and then, do more damage, fine. You should have enough gear and enough damage to actually one-shot them without it. But that really just depends on the case. 32, Empower. This game's literal in-game currency. Not gonna lie, weird, but let's talk about the actual case. This takes away part of your damage, 250, from yourself. But however, you give yourself 3 pips in exchange for it, which I think that's interesting. And plus no crit also, which makes it better. And you gain additional pips for it. So honestly, I say in the beginning game, yeah, I would definitely use it more often, because you give yourself 2 additional pips plus the extra pip after the round. So that's 3 pips, 4 at most. And then also, but when it comes to later games nowadays, it's not worth it. Just kill. One shot. Seriously. 31, Monster Mash. Not gonna lie, this is my first time using this spell, and I had to go through 10 pirates just to try this new spell out. I'm gonna be real with you, I'm kind of pissed because it's not the same one as the enemies do in the game. In order to do more damage, I have to get that minus 25 on the enemy. And I was kind of curious to see if they'll do double damage because I had the minus 25 on. Or what if it just did that? Well, I wasted all that time for that. I'm curious to know how it does in animation wise. Here's the thing. In order to do more damage, you gotta have a minus on the enemy. Which, I think that's... it should have been bugled like just like the regular Monster Mash from Castle Darkmoor. Number 30, Winged Sorrow. Normally, I praise all the Shadow spells because they're usually good. However, this one I feel like isn't the greatest in my opinion. I feel like they kind of just played a little haha JK when it came to Winged Sorrow. It's supposed to do single damage on an enemy. However, it puts minus 20 weakness on everyone else. Where I feel like it should have been, multi-damage or, a split damage and then minus 20 on everyone. That's just my opinion though. It's an okay spell, and it's just not my call. 29, Skeletal Dragon. Surprisingly, I know, right? An 8-pip spell this high? Well, let me explain why. I feel like a DOT spell was really unnecessary in game, and I feel like it just kind of really didn't come out well. It looks cool. I think it's cool as a mount. Just as a spell, though, a DOT, really unnecessary in the future games. This high up. Like, yeah, you do some damage, and then you gotta rely on damage over time after a while, and you don't really have the health or time for that. You gotta kill him fast, 28, King Artorius. Literally, this one's only better just because of the DOT not being there. I'm dead serious. However, this spell gives us a reward. Both a DeathSpear and a minus 50 infection on the enemy. Which I think that's cool. There's no need for a DOT. It gives us a bonus, and it gives them a weakness. I like it. 27, Dark Sprite. Now, I know this classic's in, the mid, and that's what I feel like. It's a mid spell. It's been a beginning spell. It's been around for a while. It's even been a cheating spell to do a lot of damage in RattleBones gold dungeons. What's more to say? Dark Sprite. 26, Dream Shield. Unlike Death Shield, you get 2 extra shields from 2 different schools where you're more likely to defend yourself instead of just getting hit by death spells. Funny enough, it didn't work on this one either. Oh well, we tried. So basically that's what it is. Instead of 80, it's minus 70. 25, DeathBlade. The original, the OG, and the only reason why people do power up. Normally this spell is great, it's not low because it's garbage. It's just a time-consuming build-up strategy. And I've done it so many times. I've done it 6 times on so many accounts with strats and everything and coming to plan. And I'm not gonna lie, every time it involves a blade of some kind, which is why I think this one's more of a middle. It's fun, yet time-consuming. 24, Dark Pact. And here's what I would say would be a better spell than DeathBlade or even so Curse itself. Though you normally have to take damage for yourself, which is fine. However, I think for the better, for the worse, you do extra damage just to give yourself extra blades. I think that's a fair deal. And yes, I know it's the same amount as I got in power. However, 2 blades now. Of any spells I want to use, I choose this spell. It's good for support too. 23, Ghoul. I'm not gonna lie, this one's a great spell. It was the first spell introduced to steal health from enemies. You do normal damage and you heal half the damage you did. It's a great spell. It was a great way to recover health when you're low, and I love it to this day. And I got most of my health back from all the battles I've did. 22, Sacrifice. A better healing current, I would say. You cause damage to yourself to heal someone else. I feel like that's a much better spell than a Storm because Storms don't heal, where Death actually does if they're a Jade, which I think fits much better than what a Storm could do in any case and scenario. In all due respect, yes, again, I did extra damage, however, I heal a lot more from it, which I think it's a fair deal. And to heal my friends, I would do that. It's good sacrifice. 21, Poison. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, why the hell would you put this spell above Skeletal Dragon? I'll give you one reason why. It's a fast, quick kill. That's the only reason why. It kills faster. It doesn't take too long just to do DOT. Unlike freaking Skeletal Dragon, it killed. Hey, it works. Shut up. Number 20, Banshee. Obviously, this spell is going to get into the top 20 only because it's one of the great spells from level 10. It did an immense amount of damage. It killed most minions. However, the only downside is when you get 3 pips, it would fizzle. Most 3 pips actually would fizzle a lot. And as a death, I think I fizzle more on... Well, I did fizzle a lot on Storm. However, I feel like I fizzle more on death than I ever did on Storm overall. That's a lot to say for a Storm. 19, Vampire. This was the power of the Necromancer until they debuffed it to 335. I'm telling you, it was 375 back in the day. Anyways, Vampire is just it's the upgrade version of Ghoul. It's 4 pips, it's a lot stronger, better. And, of course, as you all know, you get more health from it too. Now, here's the thing. When I talked about this with Monster Mash, I feel like this would have been better off without it. Monster Mash was just eh. And I feel like they just threw off the vampires just like a rude way, 18, Dream Golem. How the heck did this do better than the Crimson Phantom? This thing, all it gives is just some damage and shields. That's really much it. It does damage. That's the only reason why this one's much better. It's quick, it doesn't waste time, it's not weak, it can actually do work for once. Thank you for making some progress. 17, Malduit. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I know, this one's high. But here's the reason why. I feel like out of all schools, the death minion for 5 pips, it actually does damage. Actually does work. Actually makes itself useful. I like the other schools where he puts like blades on you, or puts traps down, or fields up. This one actually does damage. An example, it puts up Plague. I feel some respect. I'm going to give him a chance while I talk about it. She also does other spells like Natural Attack. I think up to 5 pip spells like Skeletal Pirate. But other than that, it does also cause, and other weaknesses and such. And I think it's a great minion. I think this one, probably the best minion out there for attacks and everything. And you know what? I'll give you the honors to kill it. Well done, minion. You made me proud. Spot for it. So 16, Lord of Night. The best spell for stealing health. It was not as that was a lot more than Vampire. I feel like I should have given this spell a little bit more of a respect chance and everything. However, the only downside of this spell is that once you attack, it does a minus 25 healing to the enemy, which that's cool. I don't know about it being forever good when you got Scarecrow, you got Lulu. Still cool overall. Number 15, Wraith, the OG's powerful spell to steal health and then get back some of it. I think this is one of the best spells out there for a classic, honestly. However, it wasn't truly my favorite at the end, though. I think it was an okay spell, just not the greatest spell, if you get what I'm saying. So, it's nice to see this spell. Just wish it had some more pizzazz into it, you know? Number 14, Skeletal Pirate. This one's one of my favorite spells of all time. I think it's cool, because I always dreamed about having a pirate adventure when I was younger. And seeing this spell come to life really made me feel happy. I enjoyed it. I still love this spell for how goofy it is. But, you know, as time goes on, it kind of just drifted away from my deck. So, oh well. Number 13, Dr. Von's Monster. It's alive! Classic moment. And honestly, I'm glad to see this around. It makes me glad to see that. It makes me glad to see that they decided to go with the classic Frankenstein movie and and then turn it into a rated PG for kids. And it's actually great because Dr. Von was one of the worst enemies out there in the original game. He was insane. He worked for Meowry. And now to see him back into the classics in the classic stage, where he's created a monster, it works best. And what's best about this, he also gives a minus 25 infection to the enemy once he's done, which I think that's fair. Oh, and he also gives back health too. So guys, on my mistake, I've said wrong numbers again. I'm losing it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So this is number 13, Age of Reckoning. I'm sorry for all the confusion. Editor will, yell at me later. You'd probably be like, bruh, you're making me do more work? Seriously? Yes. Sorry. Like I said, that whole Lord Knight thing screwed me over. Basically, Age of Reckoning, it's an upgrade version. It gives 20% piercing and 20% critical for all enemies, for everyone, including the enemies itself. Cool spell. There you go. Number 12, Avenging Fossil. This is, when I did the Death Challenge, I thought this spell was going to be weak, but I'm glad they really did update this to make it better, because now they do damage to the main enemy and then extra damage onto everyone else. I think it's a good spell for a 10 pip. Now, would I use it often? Heck no. It's only meant to be used for like a boss only and then be done. Anyways, moving on. Number 11, Quishmah's Curse. It's split spell. It's cool to see a professor from the Arcanum actually be a spell. However, I really don't care for split spells. Sure, you can hit multiple enemies in any way order you want, but at the same time, why? Just go for, single hit or go for a multi-hit. Or just don't hit if you really don't need to. There you go. Number 10, Scion of Death. Now, I'm going to be real with you. This spell, I wish I was lower health, but due to the fact I'm on a time limit, no offense to some people, I really don't want to get the 33% health or less just to show off this spell. However, it's still a great spell overall. It's the best way to get health back if you're fighting a boss. However, if you're not fighting a boss, it's the worst way to get health back from minions. I think you should do better. And it's cool how you do the simple death bat just to get some health back. And then he just spits out that. Or he gets a crow and he attacks it, and then he spits back at you. Kind of cool, I would say. Number 9, Ship of Fools. This is one of the best multi-hit spells for a beginner and the end game for anyone who's trying minion sweep. The only reason why this is so low at number 9 is because the animation takes a little bit too long, in my opinion. And that's really much it. I have really no hate against the spell. I think it's awesome. I just wish, it didn't take so long. And, based on all of it. Other than that, it's a great spell. Number 8, Headless Horseman. This is another classic spell. I say it's fun to use. It's one of the stronger spells for death. That's 4 pips. I say it's a reasonable one just to boss sweep with it. It's not expensive. It's a fair animation. It's a quick killing spree. I love it so much. I say for anyone that's ready for Halloween this year, get the spell over at the Lore Master place. And get it quick while you still can before spooky season ends. Number 7, Bad Juju. Is anyone really surprised this is up here? Bad Juju is one of the best spells, even used at the Trident's Trident for any strats. It does some damage to you with some death damage. However, you put -90 on the enemy, making it so weak their next spell will do slim to none to your health. It's amazing. I say it's worth it. It's a good strat. Although in PvP, it's not the greatest. It takes 25% of your health, so I would be careful with how you use it in all honesty. So therefore, it's great outside, but not great in PvP. Number 6, Snack Attack. I used to judge this one for being so bad because I thought it was just a single attack, and I'm like, come on, we need a multi-attack. We already had Wing Sorrow. However, I soon find out this one is just pushing the negative off you, and then it does a multi-attack to everyone, like it just did. I love this spell. It's great for a multi-attack. However, pushing the negative, how often are you going to get that? Just use a 0 pip. Number 5, Grim Reader. Is anyone really surprised this is high as well? Grim Reader is the best boss killing spell you can ever have. Even if you don't kill, you put 2 -25 weaknesses on them. It's the best spell Lemuria has to offer for death. That's a single attack, that is. Other than that, it's not too bad. I know I didn't judge the Storm one, but however, Lemuria is already 1 year old, and I think it's fair enough to give him this. We're not going to count Nova's spells either, until next year, obviously. That's if I ever do another one next year. Number 4, Feint. Now, this is the OG classic boss killer strat style. And you know what? This trap deserves to be up here. Unlike Death Trap, unlike Curse, unlike any other trap in existence, the Feint is the best trap. You put +70 on the enemy, put +30 on yourself. Fair deal. I think it's fair. Plus, you do immense amount of damage with it, with a bunch of blades, a bunch of other traps, if you really wanted to. Sure. It's a great, amazing spell that deserves to be known to mankind itself. It's God tier trap. Thank you, King's Out, for the spell. Number 3, Dear Knight. Honestly, the best DOT spell that anyone can ask for. Wishing Fire could do better than this? No. Not even Ice could do better than this with their Rainier Knight encounter. This spell is so powerful, it is considered the minion killer sweep of all time. It does damage over time, yeah, but it does a great amount of damage in the beginning, just to kill. Then they summon a little poison in the field, does extra damage, yeah. And even still, I believe Dear Knight is now considered to be having its own extra damage. So if you really want to go less damage on the first hit, but do more damage over time, you could do that. I prefer this one the most. That's just my opinion, though. Number 2, Scarecrow. Now, if you don't have this card in your deck, then you're not a death player. This card is the greatest spell of all time. You do 590 damage to all enemies, and you heal half of it for yourself. So basically, you just killed 4 minions. You just got free healing. And as you can tell, my freaking pet's a Scarecrow itself to show how good this spell is. I praise this spell. However, not the best spell, though, because there's one spell that's just better than this. Number 1, Call of Khrulhu, or Lulu for short for most Wizard 1 players that know this spell. Now, if you guys know, it's my main character is Cthulhu. This is basically Cthulhu, just in Wizard 1. Basically, it does, and this, here's the thing about this spell, I'm going to be real with you. If it wasn't for the update, and they didn't change the animation for it, this would have been the worst spell in existence. And I'm not kidding. it would have done hit, heal, hit, heal, hit, heal. I mean, Scarecrow did that too. But unlike Lulu originally, Scarecrow was a lot faster. But they made it a lot faster. That's good. This, on the other hand, needed the animation to be faster. Plus, it does a lot of damage. Yeah, it's a little bit more than Scarecrow by like 2 pips less, but you still need a shadow pip, so I consider it same amount of pips. However, though, it is so known to many people that this spell needed to be multi-hit because it wouldn't make sense for it to be a single hit, and it's still powerful to this day. Well, that was fun. I kind of missed Death, not gonna lie with you. I enjoyed playing as a Death character again, playing all the spells, even though I kind of forgot about Lord Knight, only because they didn't add the Grim Reader card. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sure they had that card in. And as you guys know, I love using Omnus Scarecrow most of the times, even though it's the same amount as Scarecrow. Don't judge me. Okay. Thank you. Anyway, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Maybe next time I'll do an Ice or Fire Wizard for next episode. Here's the thing, though, about it. I don't have all the spells yet for Fire or Ice. So if you guys can comment below if you have the spells that I'm looking for, just for a show, and help me out, that'd be great. Until next time, guys, take care.